I'll just give it a second for everybody to join. I know it takes a moment with Facebook Live. Hi Annalise. Hi Sam. Where is everybody tuning in from? Pop in the chat where you come from. Sydney. In Craig. Doing a lot. Oh, lots of people on the other side of the world. This must be the right time for you guys. Okay, so I wanted to do this live because I do get asked quite a lot of the same questions, and I wanted to give you guys the chance to ask me questions as well. One of the things that I think is really interesting is what my career was versus what it is now. So I know most of you, I think, on this now know, but I actually used to work in ophthalmology. So I worked for a really popular high street brand, loved what I did that for 7 years, but I was at work more than I was at home. I had lots of different things crop up, mainly being my youngest daughter. So I've got 2 daughters. My youngest daughter was born with a brain hemorrhage and a stroke, and it just meant that juggling a 40 to 60 hour week and trying to be present with my daughter and my other daughter as well and spending time with my husband, it just, something had to give. And I think a lot of people find themselves in that situation where something has to give. They have to sacrifice something, because for most people, they feel like they can't spend time with their spouse, spend quality time with their children, have a career that they love, have the income that they want, have the time that they want, do all the things that they want to do, and have the time, the money, and everything to encompass that. Something usually has to give. You usually have to give up on having the money, or you have to give up on having time freedom, or you have to give up on your job, the career, you have to give up on being present with your kids, give up on time with your spouse. So I was in that situation that I think a lot of people find themselves in, and something had to give, and it was my job that had to give. And along with that, the money then went as well. So I started my online business to basically recoup some of that lost income. And originally I only wanted 500 English pounds, I think that's about 800 Australian dollars, just to bring back in what we had lost. So that's how it started. Now, one thing a lot of people ask me is, how did you get started? That's something I'm asked a lot, and I can say it's already come up on the questions. How did you get started? That is probably one of the most common questions that I'm asked. So in a nutshell, I was 2 years, I found myself in receipt of government help because the finances were in a pickle. My husband only gets paid when he works. So he's a ceramic tiler. So if he puts tiles on a floor or a wall in a kitchen or a bathroom, he gets paid. But if he's not out there meeting customers and clients, having a look at kitchens and bathrooms, and actually sticking tiles down, he doesn't get paid, which is pretty much how most jobs work. Most jobs work where you have to meet people and build up a customer relationship, build up a customer base, and do a job, provide a product or a service for somebody, and they pay you for that, which is great, lovely. So he was working all the hours of the week, seven days a week, and I wasn't able to work because my daughter was in and out of hospital and we had a toddler. So I was actually on Facebook complaining, so this is 4 years ago, complaining about the pickle that we'd got ourselves into, which is the pickle that I think a lot of people find themselves in. So I wasn't out of the ordinary. I was moaning that I never got to see my husband. My kids never got to see their dad. He wasn't able to be present at swimming lessons, harvest festival, nativities, all that jazz. And I was finding myself having to say no to all the things that I wanted to say yes to. So when my friends were saying to me, Danny, come out for so-and-so's birthday meal. Danny, can you chip in for so-and-so's birthday present? Danny, do you want to come and try pole fitness? All these things. I was like, no, I can't afford it, or I haven't got the time. Or if I felt too embarrassed to say I had no time, I had no money, I would just say, oh, no, I can't. So I was in a place in my life where I was actually feeling quite cross, quite resentful, quite bitter, jealous of other people that seemed to have it all going on. And I was thinking to myself, this is not the life that I envisioned myself giving my children. I said to myself that my children would have so much more in their life. They would have their mum and their dad present. We would be happy. It's not all about money, but oh my gosh, having money certainly takes away a lot of stress. So I was like, I want to be able to have the ability to not feel financial stress and pressure. So I was on Facebook complaining, and a friend that I knew from being in the Air Cadets, the ATC when I was a kid, was Facebook friends with me. And I kind of knew from play groups as well. Our eldest are the same age. And she messaged me and said, I think I've got a potential solution for you. I was like, okay, great. And I consider myself a really open-minded person. So I don't know about, just looking at the comments. I'll come back to all the questions, I promise. So I don't know about you guys, but if somebody offers me something that is of value for me to at least hear about, I always say yes. Because I think, how can you say no to something that you don't know about? Because someone could be offering you either a great product bit of information, a great business bit of information, a great thing that you didn't know about that goes on in your local town that people go to, and it's a great community. You know, there's so many things. We don't know everything. So I think if we're open-minded enough to even just listen before we make a decision, we'll go far in life. So when Emma said to me about taking a listen, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Which I think always amazes me when people straight away say, no, I don't want to hear any information about this. Because I'm like, you haven't even listened. This could potentially be your solution to what it is that you're looking for. At least listen and then decide. But I said yeah, and I drove over. She lives about half an hour away. I drove over with my 2 children, and I sat and had a coffee with her. This is when I was still drinking 8 cups of coffee a day. Obviously, that habit is now out the window thanks to the nutrition products that we have. So I sat having a coffee, and she basically said to me, have you ever heard of Arbonne? And I quite openly and honestly said, no, never heard of that in my life. And she was like, okay. Have you heard of social marketing? And that's otherwise known as network marketing or multi-level marketing. And I said, no, I'd never, ever, ever heard of it. I didn't know what she was talking about. And she said, okay, have you heard that when products are sold in shops, things like shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, deodorant, hand wash, makeup, skincare, nutrition, etc., sun creams, when products are sold in shops, the reason why they're so cheap is because of the waste products, the waste ingredients that are used in them, very, very toxic, very unhealthy. And that's how they're so cheap. A bit like when you go and buy really cheap food and it's like all the scraps and all the waste. And I honestly and openly said, no, I did not know that, which was really interesting because my children had really bad skin. And I was using shop bought products on their skin, and I would go to the GP, get prescription creams for their red, raw, itchy skin that would keep them up at night screaming in pain. Put the prescription creams on, the emollients in the bath, and it would go, and then their irritated skin would come back, and it was like a vicious circle. So when she was saying this, my ears really started to prick. I was like, no, I didn't know about shop bought products having toxins in them. And she said, okay, basically they do. I was like, all right. She was like, and there is a company that started in 1975 by a man, a Norwegian man, that had this vision. She was like, a bit like Walt Disney, this one man, one vision, to create the first company that adhered to safe products. So he formulated these products that adhered to Swiss standards. So obviously Swiss, you know, best chocolates in the world, best watches in the world, best skincare in the world, adhered to these Swiss standards. And they are free from animal testing. They are free from the toxins or the nasty chemicals. They're all plant-based, and they're products that actually do something. So when you buy a hair care product that says it's going to add texture to your hair, it does, rather than it being a product that you buy, doesn't do anything, it goes in a drawer. So she was explaining to me this amazing concept. I was like, that sounds amazing. And she was like, it is. The products are unbelievable. She said so much so, and she showed me about how they're used in Buckingham Palace, how they're used by a lot of celebrities, used on the X Factor, all these things. But she said they will not pay for celebrity endorsements, which I actually quite like. So I could see that although the products were being used by a lot of celebrities, they weren't paid to say that, which I think is great, because we see a lot of celebrities that are paid to say, use this hair dye. And we know they're not using a £3 bottle of hair dye over the bath with their marigolds on. You know, we are a savvy society these days. We are aware of that. So I really loved that they didn't pay for celebrity endorsements. However, they gain a lot of celebrity endorsements just because the celebrities that are using them genuinely feel that they are the best of the best. So they share that information, which is great. And she said, the products won't be, oh yeah, you can see the comments at the bottom. Yeah, yes, he uses it as well. I can see quite, yeah, Vogue. Yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. And she said that the products won't ever be sold in a shop, because when you sell a product in a shop, it has to have its price gone up by about up to 80% in price to pay for the middle route of wholesalers, warehouse, delivery costs, lorry drivers, advertising, you know, we're aware of that. We know when we go and buy a coffee, we pay £3.50 for a coffee that actually costs 30 pence to make. You know, we know the markup is massive in shops because it has to be to have that whole lengthy process to get the product from where it's made to being in the shop. It's a huge process. So she said they won't ever sell in shops. So the founder of this company only wanted the products to be sold through word of mouth recommendations, which is why you've never heard of it, because someone's never given you the recommendation. It's an exclusive brand that only moves through word of mouth. And I was like, okay. So I was like listening. I was like, I'm liking what I'm hearing. And she said, basically, you can buy the products, that's fine. You can even buy them at wholesale. I was like, right, okay. And I was already quite keen on using the products, especially because she told me that the products have a full 6-week money back guarantee. So I was already really interested in the products. And then she said, or you can train to become an advisor, like a consultant, and it's your own business. You can have as small a business as you like or as big a business as you like. And it's a little bit like a franchise. And I already knew what a franchise was because I'd already worked for one at the optician. So I knew that an optician franchise is £200,000. You set it up, you have to adhere to using the products that you're given, and you have to adhere to like, do this, do that, do this. But it's basically your business and it's your responsibility to find the customers and clients and provide them with a good service so they keep coming back through the door every couple of years at the opticians, this is. And so I got the concept, but I was very concerned because I didn't have £200,000 to buy a franchise, to buy a business. And she said, so the online platform, the website that it is 56 English pounds or 105 Australian dollars. I was like, all right, a month. And she was like, no, not a month, once. I was like, what? You pay that once? And she was like, yeah. And she goes, and every 12 months you have to renew your website because obviously somebody's doing that website for you. And she said, and that is a renewal of 22 English pounds. Not sure what the Australian dollars is for that. And she says, and that renews it every month. You get a voucher back for renewing your website. And I was like, okay. So I can buy my business, my structure. And she was like, yeah. And I said, okay. So once I've bought the business, then what do I do? And she says, okay, so then it's up to you because you're completely self-employed. She said there are free trainings and loads of information to learn anything and everything that you'd like to learn to do with the business and to do with the products. But basically, it's your business and it's completely your responsibility to find the customers and clients, to give them good service that they keep reordering and become regular, loyal customers and clients. I was like, okay, so they're basically the same as any business because I already had a little bit of a dabble in starting my own business previously to this. I actually owned, someone's already said candy cart. Yeah, I actually owned a candy cart business. I'd set up, it cost me £1,000 and I set it up and I bought all the sweets and I had to advertise myself, go to wedding fairs, advertise myself on social media, in the local newspaper so that people would potentially book me. It started off with people asking me questions. I'd say out of every 100 people that contacted me for information, probably 20 became a booking. So you do get a lot of no's and a lot of people that don't respond back to you. And I think you get that in any business. And the candy cart business was great because it generated me a really great income. However, the time it would take, I would try and fit it into pockets of time, but I was finding it took, I'd say, a good 30 hours a week. And by the time I divided what I was earning pence an hour. And it just, for me, it just wasn't worth it. So I sold it. I sold it on. I made a massive loss. I didn't for any second blame candy cart businesses. Candy cart businesses do work, and I didn't want to go on Google telling everybody candy cart businesses don't work. I lost £1,000. It's a waste of money because it wasn't. I learned a lot from it. It just didn't work for me, and I sold it to somebody else who's had massive success with it, and that's really great for them. It just didn't work for me, and that's fine. I accepted that. And I also had a few other businesses as well that I dabbled in that were not successful, but I was aware that you have to speak to a lot of potential clients. Some people, they don't get back to you. Some people, they say no thank you, to find the ones that want what you have to offer. So I already knew that. When Emma was telling me, that made complete sense to me. So I said to her, I'm in. I'm absolutely all in. I don't know how I'm going to build up a client base, but I was aware that I would learn how to do all of this. So I paid £56 for my business. That's English pounds or 105 Australian dollars. And what I did is I wanted to have integrity. I wanted to, if I was going to build a customer base, I needed to be able to say that I was using some of the products, become a product of the product. Now, I didn't have a lot of money. I would have loved to have invested a lot of money, but I just didn't have it, and that's fine. Some people, they decide to buy lots of the products so they can talk about lots. Some people like myself, we only have a very, very small budget. I didn't even have a budget. I actually had to put it on a credit card. I spent about £100 on products, probably even a little bit less actually. 100 English pounds, that's about 160 Australian dollars, and bought myself shampoo, conditioner, some face cleanser, foundation, a couple of little bits and pieces, got a free bag of protein shake, and started using this small pool of products. And I could talk about those products then. Obviously I wasn't using, there's 500 products, so I wasn't even using a drop. It was like a drop in the ocean what I was using. So if I'd bought more, I could have spoke about more, but I didn't, and that's fine. That absolutely, you just have to work that little bit harder because you've only got a small pool of advice to give to people. And that's fine. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. So I started talking to people about the products and started talking about the business. I'd say my first year, I probably spoke to about, I'd say 1,000 people. I probably spoke to some in person and some online. So like any business, if you have a shop in the centre of town, you're going to have customers coming in. If you had 1,000 customers coming in, they're not all going to want what your shop has. And you have to have a lot of conversations with people to find the people that want what you have. And sometimes you'll find somebody will come to you and you'll have a conversation with them and they're not going to benefit from what you have, but they know somebody else that's vegan or gluten-free or into chemical-free products, and they refer you. So in the first year, I probably spoke to about 1,000 people. I worked so hard. However, what was really interesting is I did it on my mobile phone pretty much 90%, 99% of the time, and was having these conversations with people. And before the business, I already was on social media having conversations with people anyway, just because I was bored and I was on social media. So using what I already did to then grow a business was actually really quite an easy transfer, because I was already talking to people, and now I'm talking to people anyway. But I'm also mentioning that I'm also a mum, a wife, I was married abroad, I'm vegan, and I use gluten-free products, and I've got a business. I just added it to the realm of things that I was talking to people about. So that's kind of how I got started. Okay, right. Okay, so I've seen quite a few questions go, so I might have to scroll back down to have a look. So, okay, is it hard work? I think the answer to that is a yes and a no. So it depends what you compare it to. So when I was working at the opticians and working between 40 and 60 hours a week, I felt like that was really hard work. We had targets to meet. We had to speak to a lot of people to find the people that were willing to spend £300-400 on a pair of designer glasses, because the cheap glasses, you just don't make any profit on them. So you needed to speak to a lot of people to find the very small few that wanted to spend money on good quality frames and good quality lenses that were thin, that were varifocals, that did everything, all singing, all dancing. That was hard work, definitely. When I had my candy cart, that was hard work. When I compare that to building an online Arbonne business, I'd say no, doesn't even come close. I don't find Arbonne hard work. It is hard work, and I'm going to try and explain what I mean by that. But compared to what I could be doing right now, no way. This is actually a lot of fun. So I'm going to tell you why it is hard work and why it isn't. So why Arbonne is hard work is because you have to be self-motivated. You don't have a boss saying to you, right, today your target is to sell 3 pairs of glasses that are £400-500, and you're going to have to speak to about 50 people today that come through the shop to find those handful of people. Arbonne's not like that. You have to be self-motivated to decide what is income producing in your business. And what is income producing is finding people that want your advice on what's good skincare or nutrition for them. So giving people a consultant conversation. So you have to be self-motivated. You have to do things that enable you to be a fantastic business owner, because most people are not fantastic business owners. Most people start from the bottom and they have to build their way up. And it does take time to be a fantastic business owner. And I'm by no means there. But things that you have to do is look at what the most successful business owners of all industries do. And the things that they all do is they have a great morning routine. So they do things like affirmations, reading, meditation, exercise. They have a phenomenal morning routine. They meet lots of people, either in person or online, because they're aware that it's a numbers game. Not everybody wants to buy a Mercedes car. The Mercedes car dealership has to see thousands of potential people come into their garage before they find a very small percentage of people that see value in spending money on a Mercedes. It's not for everybody, and that's fine. You know, we all find this every day. Like, I used to go to play groups with my children, and you'd have loads of people come through the door at the play groups, but not everybody will stay because it's not for everybody, and that's okay. So the most successful business owners are aware that it is a numbers game. If you love people and you love talking to people, that won't bother you one little bit, and that doesn't me. But if you're not a big fan of people or talking to people, you'll find that very hard work. It's not something I find hard work. In fact, talking to people I don't even consider work, because I did it anyway before the business, and I actually genuinely love talking to people. So to me, that's not part of my Arbonne hours, if you like. I probably do about 15 hours of actual Arbonne work a week, and actual work is speaking to people, giving them advice on the business or the products. Networking with people is what I would do anyway. That's just a hobby to me. I love it, love it, love it. But if that doesn't come naturally to you, then yeah, that could be a bit of a hard work. The other thing you have to do is you have to be creative and innovative. You have to be thinking about new ideas. The times change so much. I mean, look at every time they launch an Apple iPhone, they get to work on launching a new one. They're always innovating and always creating. So when you run your own business, you've got to be thinking up new ideas and listening to what other people are doing. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, great, that's a great idea. What are you doing? Be really creative. And if you're a creative person, that's going to come naturally anyway. And if you're not a creative person, you're going to find that quite hard work. But these are skills that you can adapt anyway. So it depends on what you consider hard work. Now, for me, I find building this business is so rewarding, so rewarding. I love it. I absolutely love it. So to me, it doesn't feel like hard work. What is hard is having to motivate yourself and having to handle disappointments, because when you run a business, you're going to get disappointments. It's like parenting. With parenting, it's great being a parent and it's rewarding. It doesn't feel like work, although it is, but it doesn't feel like work. You have to handle a lot of disappointing moments because being a parent, and that's the same as having your own business. You have to handle disappointment. You have to handle people saying they're going to do something and then not bothering. That is really painful. You have to handle people saying, I'll be there, and then they're not, and that's disappointing. You have to handle a lot of disappointing times, people that don't respond back to you, rudeness. You have to handle a lot of rudeness in business, and that is very draining. If you can't handle that, it will feel like hard work. And that's probably my biggest area of the business that I find hard, when people aren't a person of their word. I am a massive person of my word. And if I say something, I will literally have to be dying before I don't honor my commitment or what I said I was going to do. Once you're exposed to the world, you meet a lot of people that are not a person of their word, and that is draining. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, I've answered that one. Oh gosh, yes. How do you motivate your team? I'm going to answer this really simply. You can't. You cannot motivate people. You just, Carly. Someone else has just put you can't. Yeah, a few comments, and you can't motivate people to do what they don't want to do. It's like having a gym membership and knowing that it's up to you to go to the gym to get out what you put in. You know, if you go to the gym 4 times a week, your results are going to reflect that effort. If you have your gym membership and you don't go to the gym and a month passes you by, your results will reflect your efforts, which is nothing. So you'll either your body will either stay as it is, or it'll deteriorate, it'll get worse. So you can't motivate somebody to go to the gym if they don't want to go to the gym. And I think that's the same in this business. You have to be a great advisor, a great consultant, but it's your job, okay? It's your business. And if you're teaching, coaching and training somebody in Arbonne to do what you do, if they don't want to help their customers and clients, if they don't want to be meeting new people, there is nothing you can do about that. You literally only have to be responsible for your customers and clients, and for the people that are doing the business, that are asking you, you know, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, what do you think I should do next? Those people that are doing something, you can help them, but you can't help people that aren't doing the business. You just can't. Yeah, absolutely. It's like somebody saying to you, I really want to lose 3 stone. I've got a gym membership. What should I do? Go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym. Well, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't make somebody lose weight who isn't willing to put the effort in. And it's the same with the business. You can't make somebody be an amazing business owner who isn't willing to do what being a business owner has to do. It just doesn't work. So I hope that answers that question. How much do I spend on my business every single month? Okay, so that's a really good question, actually. It is a business. Every business does have, obviously, overheads. So I would say I pay for, obviously, petrol to drive to, if I go to events. So if I go there, so obviously that can be classed as a business expense. Internet costs, because most of my businesses are online. So my phone, internet on my laptop, obviously I put that as a business expense. I put about 80% of my monthly internet costs as business and 20% is just personal. I buy my own products at cost, and so I don't put them through as a business expense. But if I buy products like samples, or if I buy a box of fizz stick drinks that I've got 30 drinks in it and I give them out as samples, I will put that through as a business expense. My personal products that I use on myself, I buy them at cost, so I don't put them through as a business expense, because I'll be buying toothpaste anyway, I'll be buying deodorant anyway, so it's great that I get them at cost. But products that I buy that I use for other people to try, they go down as a business expense. Books, to be honest, although I do buy books, if I wasn't doing the business, I would do that anyway. So they're not really strictly a full business expense, although the business grows based on what you're learning. So it is kind of a learning tool. So you can put some books down, but obviously just be careful how much you put down as a business expense. Printer ink. I don't really print a lot out, but I probably print a couple of things a month. That goes down as a business expense. Obviously this all goes towards having a tax refund. What else? Trying to think what else. We have 2 conferences a year, one conference in Las Vegas and one conference in the country that you live in, and you can earn back your travel expenses. Arbonne do incentives, but if you don't earn those incentives, then you can just pay for yourself to go anyway, so they go down as business expenses. So 2 conferences a year. I'm trying to think what else really. Obviously my business is from home, so my household bills, a percentage of my household bills go down as a business expense. It's quite nice actually in terms of the tax refund based on what is going towards building your business, which is great. Obviously if you have to buy a laptop, if you have to buy a printer, office equipment, office chair, I bought this when I had my business, things like that. If you run team incentives, going to a spa, going to trips, that can go through as business expense. Flowers, gifts that you send to your team, incentivizing them, that can go through as gifts. I send all my clients birthday cards on their birthdays. Yeah, I hope that answers that. So not a great deal really. My business is in profit, which is great, and it didn't cost me a lot to get going originally. So when I did my first £56, I then spent about probably £70-80 on products, and then the next month bought myself a few more products. I was earning money back from Arbonne, so my products were then becoming free anyway. It was my month 4 that I actually started to be in profit, proper in profit. So I was then earning about £500 a month, but I was really building my business. So I don't want anyone to think, oh, it takes 4 months and then you're in profit. You have to be speaking to quite a lot of people for that to be as it is. Probably about 30 people a month you really need to be seeing, either online or in person, and talking to, because out of those 30 people a month, 30-40 people a month, a tiny percentage are going to say, I need these products, or I need to do this business. It's like any business, you have to talk to way more people than what you actually need to make it work. Okay, how much time do you spend in your business? I think I've answered that. Probably about 15 hours a week of actual consultant advice to my clients and team advice to my team. Networking online, I don't class as business hours because I do that anyway. When I'm out and about shopping or having a meal, if I spoke to the waitress there, I wouldn't count that as Arbonne time. That's just a Brucey bonus. Reading, I don't count as Arbonne time. Using the products, brushing my teeth, washing my face, although I'm using the products, I don't count it as Arbonne time. So the only time I count as Arbonne time is when I'm giving a potential client or a current client consultant advice. So when they're saying, I've got oily skin, what would you recommend? So I'm either on the phone to them, or I'm messaging them, or I'm meeting them for a coffee. I count that block as Arbonne time, and each person that takes about 20 to 30 minutes. Or if I'm coaching my team and giving my team a little coaching call and giving them some advice, doing some team training, I count that as Arbonne time. So probably about 15 hours a week. And I kind of fit that in around my children. do you use social media? Yes, I do use social media. I use Facebook and Instagram, although I'm still I'm not quite there with Instagram. I'm a bit of a geriatric on Instagram because everyone's like about 18 on Instagram. I'm sure there's a bigger variety than that, but it's like these young uns are absolutely rocking it, which is great. I use Facebook more. I think as oldies, I don't know if I can call myself that or not, but the older generation seem to be on Facebook, and I love Facebook. I loved it before the business. I love it now. It's a great way to connect with people. It's a great way to showcase what you do. I'm pretty sure everybody on my Facebook knows that I'm an Arbonne health and wellness advisor, that I sell luxury, ultra premium, vegan, gluten-free, toxic-free, not test on animal products. They know I've got a shop. They know that I can teach and coach and mentor people to do what I do so that they can do this around what they do in their busy life. Pretty sure that everybody knows that, which is what you want. If you're on Facebook with a business, you need everybody to know exactly what it is that you do. So I know on my Facebook who's a hairdresser, who sells candles, who's a PT instructor, who's a lawyer, who is a celebrant. I know what everybody does, and that's how it should be in business. You should be able to think, oh, I need somebody to do dog grooming. Oh yeah, Cheryl does that. So yes, that's right. Right, I know that there's quite a few more questions. What I'm going to do, because I have got to end this call, and this live, is I'm going to come back and answer all those questions. So I'll comment on them and answer all those questions for everybody. But thank you so much for joining me on this very short question Q&A session. I hope that that's been useful for some of you guys. I know that a lot of you have asked about me doing this. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate all of your time, and all the questions I will come back and answer, I promise. It will probably be later on or tomorrow. But thank you so much. And oh, I've got some music to end. Hang on, let me put some music on. I do love a bit of music, although YouTube gets a little bit annoyed with copyright of music these days. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you all soon.